6 months had passed since humanity first appeared in the galaxy, and everything had changed forever. The old Galactic Council was gone, replaced by the human colonial administration. Alien species that had ruled star systems for thousands of years now served as local governors under human supervision. Their once proud fleets were either destroyed or converted to serve human interests. Admiral Sam Turner had been promoted to Supreme Commander of Galactic Operations. He ruled from a massive space station called Sol Prime, which humanity had built above the former Council world of Nexus Prime. The station was a monument to human engineering, a city in space that could house 10 million beings and serve as the nerve center for their new empire. Turner sat in his throne room, a vast chamber with transparent walls that looked out at the conquered galaxy. The stars that had once belonged to aliens now served humanity's expanding empire. Daily status report, Turner commanded as his staff officers gathered around him. General Lisa Parker, who now served as his chief administrator, stepped forward with her datapad. Compliance rates are at 97% across all occupied territories, sir. The remaining resistance cells are being hunted down by our patrol squadrons. Most are eliminated within hours of detection. Any word from Earth? Turner asked. President Morgan sends his congratulations on the successful expansion. Sir, the Colonial Senate has approved funding for Phase 3 operations. They want to know when we'll. The emergency meeting of the Galactic Council had turned into complete chaos. Representatives from dozens of alien races screamed at each other in their native languages. The careful diplomatic manners they had used for centuries were gone, destroyed by pure terror. Ships were fleeing from any sign of human activity. Trade routes that had operated for thousands of years were now empty. Entire sectors of space had gone silent. Ambassador Zarlin stood before the panicked assembly. Her blue, tree-like body was shaking so badly that her leaves were falling to the floor. They destroyed our third battle group without losing a single ship. Our best admirals, our most advanced technology, our strongest weapons, all gone in minutes. How do we fight an enemy like this? Elder Quindle sat in his chair like a broken statue. His 6 ancient eyes stared at nothing as he whispered, in a voice full of despair, the Kalari moon is gone. Not destroyed, gone. Erased from existence as if it never was. Their weapons work on principles that should be impossible. They can unmake reality itself. Admiral Lisa Parker stood before the massive display screen showing human ship positions across the galaxy. As the aliens' best military strategist, she had studied every battle, every attack, every movement the humans had made. What she had learned filled her with cold dread. They're not just more advanced than us, she announced to the silent chamber. They're playing by completely different rules. Our battle computers can't predict their movements because they use tactics that violate everything we know about warfare. It's like they've rewritten the laws of physics to suit their needs. What terrified the aliens most was the growing realization that they were helpless. Every defensive strategy they tried failed. Every weapon they fired missed its target. Every attempt to organize resistance was crushed before it could begin. The truth was becoming clear. Humanity had not just developed superior technology. They had spent decades studying alien weaknesses, while the aliens knew nothing about human capabilities. Every alien communication had been intercepted and decoded. Every alien tactic had been analyzed and countered. Every alien strength had been cataloged and targeted. Meanwhile, Admiral Sam Turner held a meeting of his top commanders aboard the massive command ship Dominance. The vessel was the size of a small city, bristling with weapons and sensors. It served as humanity's mobile headquarters, able to coordinate attacks across the entire galaxy. Status report, Turner commanded, his weathered face showing satisfaction as reports came in from across the galaxy. Captain Jake Morrison stepped forward. First, 17 major military installations neutralized, sir. Enemy fleet strength reduced by 38%. Civilian shipping has virtually ceased in Sectors 7 through 23. What about psychological impact? Turner asked. Commander Nicole Grant accessed her intelligence files. Panic is spreading faster than our ships can travel, sir. 3. Alien species have already transmitted formal surrender requests. The Kalari are calling us the gods of destruction. The Zephyrians believe we're demons from the void between dimensions. Turner nodded with cold approval. Fear is victory's best weapon, but we're not here just to scare them into submission. His expression hardened into something that would have terrified any alien who saw it. We're here to replace their leaders and rule their worlds. The Admiral activated the fleet-wide communication system. His image appeared on every human ship simultaneously, from the smallest scout to the largest dreadnought. Phase 2 of our operation begins now. We've shown them our power. Now we establish our permanent authority over them. Captain Danny Clark received new orders while commanding his task force near the Vorthan home system. The Vorthans had gathered their entire remaining fleet, over 200 ships, in a desperate last stand around their capital world. Sir, the Vorthan Emperor is trying to contact us, reported Lieutenant Kate Phillips. He says he wants to negotiate a peace treaty. Clark's laugh was as cold as empty space. Tell him the time for negotiation ended, when they ignored our peaceful ambassadors 50 years ago. All ships, prepare for full assault. We're going to show the galaxy what happens when you underestimate humanity. The Battle of Vorthan Prime was watched by observers across the galaxy. Alien leaders hoped desperately that the Vorthan fleet might somehow find a way to hurt the humans, to show that these terrible invaders could be fought and defeated. Battle lasted 6 hours and ended with the complete destruction of Vorthan resistance. Their biomechanical ships, which had seemed so powerful and advanced, were cut apart like toys by human weapons. The Emperor himself broadcast a surrender message, begging the humans for mercy for his people. Admiral, Turner's response was broadcast to every world in the galaxy. Submit completely to human authority, or join the extinct civilizations in the history books. The message was crystal clear. Humanity offered only 2 choices: total surrender or total annihilation. There would be no negotiation, no compromise, no peaceful coexistence between equals. The aliens could live as subjects of human rule, or they could die as enemies of human. Expansion. On worlds across the galaxy, alien governments began making the same terrible choice. One by one, they transmitted messages of surrender to the human fleet. The Arcturus Collective surrendered after seeing their 3rd battle group destroyed. The Crystal Syndicate surrendered after watching the Kalari moon vanish. Dozens of smaller species surrendered without even attempting to fight. Captain Joe Martinez led his hunter-killer squadron into the Outer Rim territories, hunting down the last organized resistance movements. These were desperate aliens who had decided to fight to the end rather than live under human rule. Sir, we've detected a small rebel fleet hiding in the Omega Nebula, reported his tactical officer. 12 ships from various species, probably, planning raids on human supply lines. Martinez studied the sensor readings with professional interest. Mixed species, outdated ships, hiding in a nebula that interferes with sensors. They're hoping their knowledge of local conditions will give them an advantage. What the rebels didn't know was that human sensor technology could penetrate any natural phenomenon in the galaxy. Their hiding place was clearly visible to human ships, and their mixed fleet was no match for purpose-built human warships. The rebels lasted 18 minutes against Martinez's squadron. Their desperate courage was admirable, but courage couldn't stop quantum torpedoes or deflect antimatter cannons. When the battle ended, the last organized resistance to human rule was nothing but glowing wreckage in space. Commander, Alex Wright monitored alien communications from his intelligence post aboard the stealth ship Phantom. The messages he intercepted painted a picture of complete civilizational collapse. "Sir, we're seeing massive population movements across the galaxy," he reported to Captain Grant. "Entire alien families are fleeing toward the galactic rim. Some species are evacuating their homeworlds completely." "Let them run," Grant replied coldly. "Distance won't save them from human rule. Sooner or later, we'll reach every corner of the galaxy." The psychological warfare campaign had been more successful than even the humans had hoped. Many alien worlds surrendered without human ships ever appearing in their systems. The mere threat of human attack was enough to break the will of entire civilizations. Elder Quindle sat in his meditation chamber on the Kalari homeworld, trying to understand how his people's ancient wisdom had failed so completely. The Kalari had always prided themselves on their ability to see the future through cosmic awareness, but they had never seen the humans coming. "We were blind," he whispered to his aide. "For all our power over space and time, we never looked toward the galactic rim. We never imagined that primitive humans could become gods of war." The aide, a young Kalari named Shentao, asked the question that haunted every alien in the galaxy. "What do they want from us?" Quindle's ancient eyes reflected the sadness of entire civilizations. "They want everything. Our worlds, our technology, our complete submission to their will. They didn't come to trade or negotiate. They came to rule, and they have the power to make their will absolute." Across the galaxy, the last free alien governments were making their final preparations for surrender. Some tried to negotiate better terms for their people. Others simply transmitted unconditional surrender messages and waited for human occupation forces to arrive. But a few alien leaders chose a different path. Rather than live under human rule, they activated ancient doomsday weapons, destroying their own worlds and their entire populations. They chose extinction over slavery. Admiral Turner watched these final acts of defiance from his command center without emotion. "Catalog their worlds for future colonization by human settlers," he ordered his staff. "Their choice to die rather than submit is actually convenient for our expansion plans." The galaxy that had once seemed infinite and mysterious was now mapped, conquered, and controlled by humanity. Every world, every resource, every surviving alien population was now part of the human empire. The impossible had become inevitable through superior technology, ruthless tactics, and absolute determination. The age of alien independence was over. The age of human dominance had begun, and it would last forever. The Kalari had always been proud of their ancient wisdom and power over cosmic forces. Their homeworld, Keltara, was thought to be impossible to attack. Giant energy barriers surrounded the planet, powered by the combined mind power of millions of Kalari. These shields had never failed in 10,000 years of war. Admiral Danny Clark had chosen this planet specifically for humanity's first real demonstration of power. Massive human warship Annihilator dropped out of hyperspace directly above Keltara's North Pole. The ship was enormous, bigger than most alien space stations. Its dark hull was covered in weapons that no alien had ever seen before. The ship cast shadows across 3 continents as it hung in space like a metal moon. "All weapon systems prepare for synchronized firing," Clark ordered from his command chair. Around him, his crew worked with machine-like precision. Every human knew their job perfectly. They had trained for this moment for years. On the planet's surface, Elder Quindle watched in growing horror as his people's greatest defenses came to life. The planetary shields began to glow, fed by the psychic energy of every Kalari on the world. The barriers had stopped entire alien fleets before. They were the most powerful defensive system in the known galaxy. The human ship fired once. The beam that came from the Annihilator's main gun wasn't like any weapon the aliens had ever seen. It wasn't energy or plasma or antimatter. It was something that attacked reality itself, breaking down the basic rules that held the universe together. The planetary shields didn't just fail. They stopped existing completely, as if they had never been built. The beam struck Kaltara's largest moon. In 3 seconds, the moon was gone. Not destroyed, simply gone, turned into dust so fine it couldn't be seen. Commander Beth Rogers, Clark's weapons officer, spoke in a calm voice. "Target eliminated, sir. Sensors detect no debris larger than sand grains." The message was clear to every alien who was watching. Humanity could erase entire worlds from existence. The reaction across the galaxy was immediate and terrifying. The Vorthan Empire called back all their fleets to protect their most important worlds. The Zephyrians activated defense systems that had been sleeping for thousands of years. Smaller alien races simply ran toward the edge of the galaxy, hoping distance would save them from the humans. But humanity wasn't finished with their demonstration. Captain Joe Martinez commanded a group of human ships called hunter-killers. These ships were built for one purpose: finding and destroying entire alien fleets before they could organize to fight back. His target was the Arcturus Collective's 3rd Battle Group, their best and most experienced naval formation. Contact established. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Sarah Johnson from the sensor station. 47 enemy ships in standard defensive formation. "They're not running away." Martinez smiled coldly. "Brave of them." "Stupid, but brave. All ships. Activate stealth systems. Let's show them how humans hunt." The human ships vanished from all sensors, becoming invisible ghosts in space. The alien fleet suddenly found themselves alone, their instruments showing empty space where enemy ships had been just seconds before. Admiral Kexter commanded the alien fleet from his crystal flagship. His body was flashing rapid colors as panic set in. Where did they go? How can ships that large just disappear? His tactical officer, a young Arcturus named Velenin, stared at his blank sensors in confusion. "Sir, they're just gone. It's like they never existed. But that's impossible." The human ships struck from 6 directions at once, appearing inside the alien formation like deadly phantoms. Their weapons fired with perfect coordination, each shot calculated to cause maximum damage. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't hit targets. They couldn't see. The battle lasted less than 4 minutes. When it was over, 47 alien warships had been reduced to floating wreckage. Not a single human ship was even damaged. Admiral Sam Turner watched the battle footage from his command center aboard the Retribution. He felt deep satisfaction as he saw the alien fleet burning in space. "Send this recording to every inhabited world in the galaxy," he ordered. "Let them see what happens to those who stand against humanity." The footage spread through alien communication networks faster than any news in galactic history. On 1,000 worlds, alien leaders watched their most powerful warships destroyed in minutes by an enemy they could barely understand. On the Zephyrian homeworld, Crystal Prime, the ruling council met in emergency session. Chancellor Vextel, whose crystal body usually shone with confidence, now flickered with fearful gray light. "How is this possible?" he asked his military advisors. "Our sensor technology is the most advanced in the galaxy. How can ships simply become invisible?" General Haxter, the head of Zephyrian military forces, had studied the battle recordings for hours. "They're using some form of quantum manipulation we've never seen before. Their ships aren't just invisible. They're existing in a different layer of space-time. Our weapons can't hit targets that aren't fully in our reality." The terrifying truth was becoming clear to aliens across the galaxy. Humanity hadn't just developed better weapons. They had learned to break the basic laws of physics. They could make their ships invisible, appear anywhere instantly, and fire weapons that destroyed matter at the atomic level. Meanwhile, Captain Nicole Grant's stealth ship Phantom continued its patrol of alien space lanes. Her mission was to gather intelligence, but the psychological effect of her ghost ship was proving even more valuable than information. Commander Wright, what are the latest intercepts telling us? Grant asked her intelligence officer. Alex Wright sorted through thousands of alien messages. Panic is spreading to civilian populations now, sir. Alien families are fleeing core worlds for remote colonies. Trade has almost completely stopped. Several species are reporting mass hysteria among their populations. Grant nodded with satisfaction. Fear is the most contagious emotion in the universe. Once it starts spreading, it becomes unstoppable. The fear was justified. Human ships began appearing at random locations across the galaxy, always just long enough to be detected before vanishing again. Alien military bases reported ghost contacts that appeared and disappeared without warning. Civilian shipping lanes were haunted by invisible vessels that could strike without warning. Captain Jake Morrison led his dreadnought Vengeance into the heart of Vorthan space, where their largest military shipyard orbited their capital world. The shipyard was building the next generation of Vorthan warships, vessels designed specifically to fight against human technology. Sir, the shipyard is heavily defended, reported Lieutenant Amy Foster. 53 Vorthan warships plus orbital defense platforms. They're waiting for us. Morrison studied the tactical display with professional interest. The Vorthans had positioned their ships in overlapping defensive layers, with backup positions and escape routes carefully planned. It was a textbook defensive formation. They've learned from the other battles, Morrison observed. No more tight formations that we can attack from inside. They're giving themselves room to maneuver and multiple fallback positions. Commander Ryan Bell looked up from his tactical station. Orders, sir? Morrison's smile was cold as winter space. Show them that human adaptability doesn't just apply to technology. All ships implement attack pattern Omega. Let's see how they handle something they've never seen before. The human ships split up and attacked from 12 different directions, but not all at once. They struck in waves, each attack forcing the aliens to reposition their defenses. Just when the aliens thought they understood the human strategy, the pattern changed completely. The Vorthan ships found themselves constantly out of position, always reacting to threats instead of controlling the battle. Their careful defensive plans fell apart as human ships appeared and disappeared at will, striking from impossible angles before vanishing again. Admiral Veltara commanded the Vorthan defense from her biomechanical flagship. Half of her face was living flesh, the other half was advanced machinery that interfaced directly with her ship's systems. Both halves showed growing desperation as the battle progressed. They're not following any recognizable attack pattern, she reported to her staff. Every time we adapt to their tactics, they change completely. It's like fighting an enemy who rewrites the rules of warfare every few minutes. The battle ended with the complete destruction of the shipyard and most of its defending fleet. The Vorthans who survived fled toward their home system, carrying news of humanity's overwhelming tactical superiority. But the most frightening thing wasn't humanity's advanced technology or superior tactics. It was their complete ruthlessness. Human. Ships showed no mercy, took no prisoners, and left no survivors who might organize resistance. They fought like a force of nature, unstoppable, unavoidable, and absolutely deadly. The galaxy was learning a harsh truth. Humans didn't just want to win battles. They wanted to win so completely that no alien would ever dare to fight them again. The emergency meeting on Nexus Prime was getting loud and messy. Alien leaders from all over the galaxy sat in the Great Chamber, their different voices mixing together in dozens of languages. Fear made them forget their manners and careful words. Ambassador. Zarlin stood up from her seat. Her blue tree-like body was shaking as she spoke. We have to try talking to them first. These humans might listen to reason. Maybe we can bring them into our community and teach them our peaceful ways. But Elder Quindle looked very doubtful. His ancient eyes stared into empty space as he tried to understand these new enemies. I reached out with my mind powers to touch their thoughts. Their minds are protected by technology we have never seen before. They think in patterns that hurt my head to follow. They are not like us at all. The huge screen in the center of the room showed the positions of human ships across the galaxy. Red dots marked where the human fleet was moving. Admiral Lisa Parker studied these movements with growing worry. She had been a military planner for 40 years, but nothing she knew helped her understand what the humans were doing. Look at how they move, she said, pointing at the screen. They don't follow standard patrol routes. They don't set up defensive positions around important planets. Their movements look completely random, but somehow they're perfectly coordinated. It's like they're playing a game with completely different rules than us. What the aliens didn't know was that humans had been watching them for decades. Every alien ship movement, every communication, every military exercise had been recorded and studied. Humans knew more about alien tactics than the aliens knew about each other. On the human command ship Retribution, Admiral Sam Turner sat in his ready room, reading intelligence reports. The walls were covered with pictures and data about alien races. Turner had spent most of his life studying these enemies, preparing for this moment. His aide, Lieutenant Kate Phillips, knocked on the door and entered. Sir, we're receiving a formal diplomatic request from the Galactic Council. They want to arrange a face-to-face meeting to discuss peace terms. Turner's weathered face twisted into a cold smile. Peace terms? That's rich. Where were their peace terms when we first made contact 50 years ago? Where was their diplomacy when they dismissed our ambassadors as primitive barbarians? He stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the stars that would soon belong to humanity. Send a message to all fleet commanders. Operation Nightfall begins in 6 hours. It's time to show the galaxy what happens when you underestimate humans. The human response was swift and terrifying. Instead of words or meetings, human ships began appearing near major alien trade routes and military bases. Their quantum drives allowed them to jump across thousands of light years in minutes, making traditional defense strategies completely useless. Captain Nicole Grant commanded the stealth ship Phantom, one of humanity's most advanced vessels. Her ship could phase in and out of normal space, becoming invisible to all alien sensors. Her mission was reconnaissance, but the psychological impact was devastating. Commander Wright, what are the aliens saying about our ghost appearances? Grant asked her intelligence officer. Alex Wright smiled as he read through intercepted communications. They're terrified, sir. Alien crews are reporting phantom ships that appear on sensors for a few seconds before vanishing. Some are calling. U.S. spirits of dead civilizations come back for revenge. Others think we're demons from another dimension. Grant nodded with satisfaction. Fear is often more effective than firepower. Let them imagine the worst. Their own minds will do half our work for us. Meanwhile, Captain Danny Clark was leading a squadron of human destroyers toward the Arcturus Collective's main shipping lanes. The Arcturus aliens were traders and merchants, not fighters, but they controlled important supply routes that fed half the galaxy. Sir, we have 23 civilian cargo ships on our sensors, reported Lieutenant Sarah Johnson from the navigation station. They're carrying food supplies to the Kalari home system. Clark's orders were clear. Disrupt alien supply lines without directly attacking civilian targets. All ships decloak on my mark. We're going to give them a demonstration they'll never forget. The human ships suddenly appeared around the alien convoy, like wolves surrounding sheep. The alien cargo ships immediately began broadcasting surrender signals and pleas for mercy. They had never seen ships like the human destroyers, angular, brutal-looking vessels bristling with weapons. "This is Captain Clark of the human fleet," he broadcast on all frequencies. "Your cargo has been confiscated. Return to your home ports and spread the word. The galaxy has new masters now." The alien cargo ships fled as fast as their engines could carry them, abandoning millions of tons of supplies. Within hours, the news spread to every major alien world. Humans could appear anywhere, at any time, and there was nothing anyone could do to stop them. Admiral Turner watched the reports come in from his command center aboard the Retribution. Each successful operation brought them closer to their goal: complete alien submission through overwhelming fear. "Status report," he commanded his staff officers. Commander Ryan Bell stepped forward with a datapad. 17 major supply convoys intercepted and turned back. Enemy civilian shipping has decreased by 60% in the last 12 hours. Military communications show increasing panic among all alien fleets. Any attempts at organized resistance? Turner asked. "None so far, sir. The aliens are too confused and frightened to coordinate any effective response. Several minor species have already transmitted surrender offers." Turner nodded approvingly. "Good, but this is just the beginning. Send word to Captain Morrison aboard the Vengeance. It's time for Phase 2. Captain Jake Morrison received his orders while his ship was patrolling near the Vorthan border. The Vengeance was one of humanity's new Dreadnought-class vessels, a massive warship designed to fight entire alien fleets single-handed. "New orders coming in from Admiral Turner," announced Lieutenant Amy Foster. "We're to proceed to the Kepler system and wait for further instructions." Morrison studied his tactical displays. The Kepler system contained one of the galaxy's most important research stations, where the 3 major alien powers conducted joint scientific projects. It was also heavily defended by ships from all 3 alien empires. "Foster, send a message to all department heads. We're about to give the aliens their first real taste of human military power. I want all systems at peak efficiency." As the Vengeance jumped to hyperspace, Morrison thought about the long road that had brought humanity to this moment. 50 years ago, humans had made first contact with the Galactic Council. They had offered trade, friendship, and cooperation. The aliens had looked at humanity's primitive technology and dismissed them as barely civilized savages. That dismissal had been the aliens' first and greatest mistake. Instead of being discouraged, humanity had used the rejection as motivation. They had studied every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on. They had reverse-engineered alien computers, weapons, and engines. But most importantly, they had improved on everything they learned. Where aliens built elegant, beautiful ships, humans built efficient killing machines. Where aliens valued art and philosophy, humans focused on engineering and warfare. Where aliens sought harmony and balance, humans prepared for conquest. The result was a human military that was decades ahead of anything the aliens possessed. Human ships were faster, stronger, and more heavily armed than their alien counterparts. Human tactics were aggressive and unpredictable. Human technology was so advanced it seemed like magic to alien observers. But the aliens were about to learn that human superiority wasn't just about technology. It was about will, determination, and the absolute refusal to accept defeat. Humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this war, and they intended to win it completely and permanently. The galaxy had ruled itself for thousands of years, growing comfortable in its peace and stability. But peace made civilization soft, and stability bred complacency. The aliens had forgotten how to fight, how to fear, how to struggle for survival. Humans had never forgotten any of those things. And now they were about to remind the galaxy why apex predators always ruled over peaceful prey. The stars belonged to aliens for thousands of years. Big ships moved between planets like fish in an ocean. 3 main groups ruled everything. The Zephyrians had ships made of crystal that shined like diamonds. The Vorthan Empire built ships that looked alive, with metal that grew and changed. The Kalari were the oldest and strongest. They could move things with their minds and bend space itself. These 3 groups never fought big wars anymore. When they had problems, they talked. Sometimes small fights happened, but nothing serious. The galaxy was peaceful and quiet. Every alien race knew their place. Admiral Kexter stood in front of the big meeting room. His body was made of living crystal that changed colors when he felt things. Right now, he was flashing red and orange, which meant he was scared. His voice cracked when he spoke to the other leaders. Something bad happened in the outer edge of space. All our watch stations stopped talking to us at the same time. 47 stations, all gone silent. The other aliens in the room started making worried sounds. Some clicked their claws. Others made humming noises. Commander Veltara from the Vorthan Empire had a face that was half machine and half living flesh. The machine parts were blinking fast. Our scout ships found huge energy readings before they disappeared too. The computer says these readings don't match anything we know about. They're impossible. Elder Quindle was the oldest alien in the room. He had lived for 800 years and seen everything the galaxy could show. But now his ancient face looked confused and frightened. He closed his 6 eyes and reached out with his mind, trying to feel what was happening far away. There is something new in our galaxy, something that breaks all the rules. I can feel it moving through space like a shadow. It should not exist, but it does. The meeting room got very quiet. For the first time in hundreds of years, the aliens who ruled the galaxy were afraid of something they didn't understand. Deep in their old computer files were stories about a planet called Earth. The stories said humans lived there, but they were weak and stupid. The computers said humans could barely fly between planets in their own solar system. But the computers were wrong. The humans had been very busy. Captain Jake Morrison stood on his ship's bridge looking out at space. Behind him, more human ships appeared out of nowhere. They came through a tunnel in space that aliens thought was impossible to make. These weren't pretty ships like the aliens built. Human ships looked like weapons. They had sharp edges and too many guns. Sir, we're getting messages from 17 different alien races. They're calling us ghosts and demons. They say we can't be real, said Lieutenant Amy Foster. She was sitting at the communication station, listening to all the scared alien voices. Morrison smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. It was the smile of a hunter who had found his prey. Let them talk all they want. Ryan, how are our ships doing? Commander Ryan Bell's hands moved over his control screen. Numbers and pictures showed him everything about the human fleet. All ships are working perfectly, sir. Our new space-jumping drives are even better than we hoped. All weapons are ready to fire. The humans had learned from every fight, every piece of alien technology they had stolen or found. While the aliens got comfortable and lazy during their long peace, humans had prepared for war. They studied every alien weakness. They built better weapons. They made ships that could appear anywhere in seconds. On the alien planet Nexus Prime, emergency meetings started right away. Leaders from dozens of different alien races gathered in a huge room. They all talked at once in different languages, making a terrible noise of fear and confusion. Ambassador Zarlin looked like a tall, thin tree with blue skin. She waved her branch-like arms as she spoke. We must try to talk to them. Maybe we can make them our friends. Maybe we can bring them into our peaceful galaxy. Elder Quindle shook his head slowly. His 6 eyes looked very tired. I tried to touch their minds with my powers, but their thoughts are protected by machines I cannot understand. They think in ways that make no sense to us. A huge screen in the middle of the room turned on. It showed where the human ships were. Flying. Admiral Lisa Parker was the aliens' best military leader. She studied the human ship movements and felt cold fear in her stomach. They're not following any rules we know. They don't fly in normal patterns or protect important places the right way. Their movements look random, but they're clearly working together. It's like they're playing a completely different game than us. Far away on his warship, Admiral Sam Turner was reading reports in his private room. Turner was an old soldier with gray hair and scars on his face. He had fought in secret wars for 30 years, getting ready for this day. "Sir, the aliens are asking to meet with us. They want to talk about peace," said Lieutenant Kate Phillips. She was young but smart, and Turner trusted her. Turner laughed, but it was an ugly sound with no happiness in it. Peace? After they ignored. Use for 50 years? After they treated us like stupid animals? He stood up and fixed his uniform. "Tell all our ship captains to get ready. It's time to show these aliens what humans can really do." The human answer didn't come in words. It came in action. Human ships started moving toward alien trade routes and military bases. They moved impossibly fast, appearing anywhere in the galaxy in just a few hours. This made all alien defense plans useless. Captain Nicole Grant commanded a special ship called the Phantom. Her ship could disappear and reappear like a ghost. Her job was to spy on aliens, but the fear she caused was even more valuable. Alien crews reported seeing ghost ships in their sensors for just a second before they vanished. Again, "Sir, we're listening to alien communications across 17 sectors of space. Panic is spreading faster than we thought it would. Several alien races are already calling up all their war fleets," said Commander Alex Wright. He was Grant's intelligence officer. Grant nodded and smiled. "Fear is a weapon just as strong as any gun. Let them panic. Let them wonder where we'll attack next. The more afraid they are, the easier this will be." In space stations across the galaxy, alien families watched the news and trembled. Their leaders, who had seemed so powerful and wise, now looked helpless and scared. Something new had entered their safe, peaceful galaxy. Something that didn't follow their rules or care about their long history. The age of alien rule was ending. The age of humanity was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same again.